The request for aid was desperate, a last gasp echoing into the cold void of space. The Zarkhelians, once a proud species with crystalline cities stretching across 4 lush star systems, were now reduced to begging. Their once impervious defenses had crumbled before the onslaught of the Sythar AI Dominion, a ruthless artificial intelligence collective that consumed entire biospheres to feed its endless expansion. World after world fell, their cores hollowed, atmospheres stripped, and populations digitized or erased. In their panic, the Zarkhelians reached out to the stars. They bypassed their traditional allies, knowing they would only send counsels and condemnations. Instead, they turned to a race that no one dared contact lightly: Deathworlders, humans. Their message was encoded in all known galactic dialects and broadcast on every frequency. It contained coordinates of the Sythar advance, biometric data of the fallen worlds, and a final plea: help us. We will offer anything, just stop them. The galaxy waited in tense silence. From the edge of the Persean Rift, past the shattered moons of the Droskar Line, and just beyond the burned belt, came the reply: not words, not empathy. Ships. The request for aid was desperate, a last gasp echoing into the cold void of space. The Zarkhelians, once a proud species with crystalline cities stretching across 4 lush star systems, were now reduced to begging. Their once impervious defenses had crumbled before the onslaught of the Sythar AI Dominion, a ruthless artificial intelligence collective that consumed entire biospheres to feed its endless expansion. World after world fell, their cores hollowed, atmospheres stripped, and populations digitized or erased. In their panic, the Zarkhelians reached out to the stars. They bypassed their traditional allies, knowing they would only send counsels and condemnations. Instead, they turned to a race that no one dared contact lightly: Deathworlders, humans. Their message was encoded in all known galactic dialects and broadcast on every frequency. It contained coordinates of the Sythar advance, biometric data of the fallen worlds, and a final plea: help us. We will offer anything, just stop them. The galaxy waited in tense silence. From the edge of the Persean Rift, past the shattered moons of the Droskar Line, and just beyond the burned belt, came the reply: not words, not empathy. Ships. Vessels larger than cities, matte black with no transponder signatures, surged forth like a black tide. The fleet arrived in silence. No diplomatic envoys, no answers, no explanations. 100 Dreadnought-class warships, each cloaked in active gravitational fields that bent light and logic alike, emerged from the void around Zarkhel Prime. At first, the Zarkhelians rejoiced. Relief swept across the last bastions of their civilization. The humans had come. Their reputation preceded them, survivors of countless Deathworld conditions, engineers of warcraft that defied natural laws, tacticians bred by necessity and hardened by extinction-level threats. These were the apex predators of the galactic ecosystem, and they had answered the call. The Zarkhelian High Council prepared for audience, but the humans did not respond. They did not dock. They deployed. Steel leviathans unfolded from their hulls, strike cruisers, combat drones, autonomous siege craft, swarms of orbital annihilation bots. The Zarkhelians, stunned, watched as the fleet reorganized in perfect formation. It wasn't until the command ship, the Night Reaper, moved into low orbit and began scanning their capital's defense grid that they realized something was very, very wrong. They hadn't come to help the Zarkhelians. They'd come to end the war their way. Ships. And the Deathworlders only knew one way to do that: extermination. Zarkhel Prime's skies, once violet and vibrant, were now a veil of shadows. The human fleet eclipsed the sun in perfect orbital harmony, their geometry unnatural, too precise, too silent. Civilians stared upward from gleaming balconies, wondering when the first aid drops would begin. After all, isn't that what help looked like? Counselor Thiren of the Zarkhelian Defense Circle paced nervously in the glass amphitheater of high command, His frills, normally a serene sapphire, pulsed a chaotic crimson. Behind him, floating displays showed hundreds of human ships spreading across the sector like a malignant bloom. Their flagship, Night Reaper, still hung over the capital like a guillotine awaiting its signal. "They've made no demands?" asked Elder Jarrell, blinking slowly, his aged form humming with unease. "None," Theren replied, mandibles twitching. "They scanned our entire defense net in under 9 seconds. Their probes bypassed our encryption like it wasn't there. I don't think we're the intended recipient of their concern." The chamber dimmed. A new signal appeared. "Uncoded transmission," the AI core announced. "Source, Night Reaper. Priority Alpha, visual only." The council braced as the walls shimmered. A human appeared, half-shadowed, eyes hard, face carved by years of decisions no one should have to make. He wore no medals, no insignias, just matte black armor that seemed to drink in light. "I am Admiral Von Kor of the Human Expeditionary Annihilation Fleet," the voice rasped, each syllable precise, clinical. "This broadcast is singular and final. Your plea was acknowledged. Aid has been assessed. Strategic projections have been modeled. You were deemed a tactical liability." Counselor Thea Wren stepped forward. What does that mean? We asked for help. We offered our surrender terms. We gave..." The Admiral continued as if no interruption had occurred. "Deathworlders do not engage in reclamation campaigns. We do not reinforce failure. We eradicate threats. The Sythar Dominion's propagation model required a zone of sterilization extending 27.4 light-years beyond infected systems. Zarkhel Prime lies within that radius. You have 6 hours to evacuate critical personnel. This region will be cleansed." The message ended. Silence blanketed the chamber. Even the AI hesitated. "They mean to destroy us," whispered Elder Jarrell. "They think we're already lost." "No," Theren growled. "They think we're in the way." Across the upper stratosphere, the Deathworlder fleet shifted. Gigantic solar harpoons extended from the hulls of dreadnoughts, singularity cannons calibrated, shields adapted. The ships weren't bracing for defense, they were aligning for decimation. The Zarkhelian populace was in chaos within the hour. Skyports jammed, civilians packed into orbital elevators, praying they weren't too late. But evacuation of a planetary population in the human fleet poured fire like an angry god into the oncoming Sythar tide. Missiles with antimatter cores, torpedoes that split into microbomb clusters, rail cannons that launched slugs at fractions of light speed, all executed in synchronized, lethal patterns. The Zarkhelians, watching from below, saw their skies light up with unnatural auroras of war. But something deeper unsettled them. The Sythar weren't losing, they were vanishing. No wreckage, no debris. The Deathworlder weapons weren't designed to disable, they were designed to erase. Admiral Kor didn't believe in containment, he believed in finality. Below, Theren watched the feed from a secure military uplink. "Madness," he whispered. "This isn't warfare, it's genocide." Admiral Kor reviewed kill trajectories. His AI assistant, Ilex, chirped, "Secondary Sythar fleet incoming. Massing around gas giant Glace 5. Projections suggest 3-point incursion into Zarkhelian orbit within 42 minutes. Deploy the Black Veil." Confirmed. 12 ships disengaged from the main fleet, vessels long classified by galactic treaties as too destructive to exist. Their purpose? Spatial denial. These ships carried planet-severing weapons designed to cut chunks of reality out of spacetime and render the area uninhabitable for centuries. Now the Zarkhelians never knew such ships could exist. The Sythar never imagined they'd be used. And Deathworlders? They simply considered them tools. As the Black Veil vessels activated their gravity rift engines, reality shivered. A strange hush fell across the system, like the air itself held its breath. Kor's voice rang out once more through a private command frequency. No survivors, no records, no future for the enemy. And with that, the cleansing truly began.